Uh, we landed in Jersey and went on to Queen Mary. 15,000 troops, 101st Airborne, all the Navy guys. And we landed into Scotland, and then we went from Scotland to Falmouth, England. And our boat wasn't over there yet, and we had to work on other boats and fix them, repair them. And then our boat come in on top of LST, and they tilted the LST with the ballast and launched it. And then we were assigned to my LCT 662. And we trained in England, and we went into a beach that we used to practice landing. Slapton Sands it was called, and in the daytime. But the LSTs went there at night, and the German Greyhounds, like PT boats, went in and killed 800 soldiers and sailors, blew them up and sunk them, and never told us a word about it because they didn't want to demoralize us, because this is before D-Day. And then we went up the Dartmouth River under camouflage nets, and we had 4 Sherman tanks on there. Then we sailed to Plymouth with the tanks and the soldiers, and we had a storm, so we had a 24-hour delay. And then we started crossing the Channel to France, and the soldiers had no place to sleep, so I got in my bunk, they'd sleep in my bunk, and we had to feed them and all that. And then we started approaching the beach, in Utah Beach, in Normandy, and all the shells were exploding around us, and we dropped off the first vehicle. It was like a weasel with tracks, and it sunk. Now we had to back up. Can't get the tanks off. And as we're backing up, we're sucking these 2 soldiers under the ramp, and the shells are exploding all around them. And as we backed up, I threw them a life ring, and then we moved into another spot, left them there. What could we do? And the shrapnel was hitting all over around us in the bulkheads. And then we got in more to the beach again, because we had an anchor out that we pulled ourselves off with. And we put the 4 Shermans on the beach. Then we pulled ourselves off. We had another truck that got off too. Then we picked up 2 dead guys in the water, and we pulled off the beach and went out towards a bigger ship and gave the bodies to that ship. And then we kept working day and night, 4 hours on, 4 hours off, bringing troops in and tanks and all accessories, gasoline. And then as we're getting repaired by an Atlas repair ship, with an LST repair ship, it's about 2 weeks later, I seen an LST coming in loaded with troops, hit a mine, and picked it up and blew it in half. If you want to see that, I'd say 95% was killed in about 3 or 4 minutes. And the survivors, some of them come over on our boat, the LCVPs brought them to our boat, we hoisted them up to the LST, and their noses were split in half, they were vomiting, bleeding, and in shock. And that was kind of bad. And then later on, another time, LSC going out with wounded, strapped to the bulkhead and stuff, and it hit a small mine, and they push it back on the beach. So I don't know whatever happened to them guys. They were all in shock, being tied up in a stretcher. And before that, we had a glider pilot was bringing prisoners on. He was like in shock himself, and he had a submachine gun. I had to take the gun off because he was ready to shoot the guys. And the German prisoners were giving me their wallets and stuff. I wouldn't take nothing. But we had some of the first prisoners off the beach. Okay, and then we had a storm, 5 days and 5 nights. And the boats were being washed up on the beach. And the bodies are coming out of the sunken ships. And we had to help tow them off. The bulldozers made trenches behind the boats, and high tide we pulled the ones off the beaches that were stranded up there from the storm. And then we had they brought some Merchant Marine Liberty ships in and made a wall of them so we could hide behind them during the rough weather. We had no place to dock, and that was like protect us like a seawall. But they were Liberty ships that were old, were hit with bombs and stuff. They didn't sink. And they had soldiers on them, on anti-aircraft guns. And the storm came, they had to get them off. And then later on, after all the stuff quieted down, we moved up towards Morlaix, past Cherbourg, Morlaix, France, up this canal. And the Germans blew the locks up, we'd only go in there at high tide, and people come down from all over to see us because we were the heroes that invaded the beaches of Normandy. We were all young kids, 18, and they're touching our face because we were so young. And we stayed there about 3 months, and then we went back later on to England for R&R, and then our boats went back they took them apart in 3 pieces and brought them to the Pacific Ocean, I believe. But we had a tremendous time in England and France, getting everything ready, and there's a lot of work, and we also had to wear special clothes on D-Day in case the Germans used mustard gas on us. And we had to sleep in them and everything. It was like, it smelled like a new tent, had a terrible odor. And they never used mustard gas, but we kept sleeping in those clothes for a couple of days and nights. And we never took showers, and we couldn't use the water. We didn't know where we were going to get replenished with water. So we were kind of dirty and everything. It was kind of rough.